Hello, my English 102 students. How are you doing? I hope you're all settled in with your new routine and new schedule so that you can complete your courses online for the next 5 weeks. Okay, I apologize for that first posting that I made. I made that video when we were told that we were going to return to person-to-person class on March 23rd. And that didn't happen, and so that video may have caused some confusion, and I apologize for that. So this video, this is the real video. This is the schedule we're going to stick to until we complete our course on May 6th. So let's begin on how to write that argument essay. Okay, the pattern for the argument essay is much different than for the informative essay or the personal narrative. It's a different pattern of idea development. Now these are the elements that compose the argument essay. We have a claim or a thesis, and we all know what the thesis is. It's the biggest idea of our essay, and it's the idea that everything needs to support. Then we have supporting arguments. These are the points that we're going to make to support our claim or thesis statement. Then we have counter arguments. What does the opposition say? And it's very important to carefully examine what the opposition says and use research to refute those counter arguments. And then there is concessions. That's when the writer surrenders 1 or 2 points to the opposition, saying, okay, I agree with you on these 2 points. And that really shows a fair and reasonable person. So we always want to give a concession or 2. Okay, so now how do we prepare for this essay? And I've come up with a couple of tasks, which I know you're excited about. The first reading is Working at McDonald's, and I'm pretty sure most of you have read that. That's on pages 7 through 9 in your handout. I'd like you to answer the essay analysis questions on page 2 in that handout. Please type MLA, this is a portfolio item, and include the answer in the questions so that I have a pleasant time reading your analysis. Also make this collaborative. Get your study buddy, get a parent, a friend, a sibling, someone who wouldn't mind reading that essay and helping you examine it. Our second reading assignment will be Children Need to Play, Not Compete, pages 13 through 15 in the handout. And I know you'll notice that when you're reading it, that page 14 and 15 have been switched, so get those in order so the essay makes sense. This essay also needs to undergo an analysis. So again, answer those questions. Please type MLA, portfolio item, and include the question and the answer so that you're writing complete sentences. Now, we need to learn the pattern of the argument essay. And I want you to turn to page 6 of your sample argument outline and plug in the components of children need to play, not compete. This is very, very important. This is going to take a little more time, a little more effort, and maybe it might be frustrating at points. But this is, you're laying the foundation to understand the pattern of the argument essay. So this is a really critical assignment. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do, if you're looking at your sample argument outline, you'll see thesis at the top. And so you'll go, okay, I need to read for the thesis, and you'll write that in there. Now, before you mark up this little outline, you might want to make a copy or 2 of this argument outline because you will use this exercise when you develop your topic. So how to do this little outline? Let's use Working at McDonald's as an example. So the thesis or the claim is McDonald's is bad for your kids. Very simple. It's the first sentence in the first paragraph of the essay. So it's very, very simple. And pay attention to the simplicity of how he builds his thesis and then supports it. Then he does something very clever, which I hope that you replicate in your essays. He creates a forecasting statement, and I'm looking at that. That's in the second paragraph. And he says, working at McDonald's undermines school attendance, imparts few skills, and it skews the values of teenagers. And so we have this lovely forecasting statement, so we know exactly how he's going to support his claim. I would highly recommend that you do that in your essay. It makes it easy for you as the writer, and it makes it lovely for the reader, because then we can follow your argument because it's so organized. Then he addresses the counter-arguments. It's an American tradition that teenagers work. They earn important pocket money. It creates self-discipline. Teenagers are exposed to teamwork and being supervised, and they're exposed to good role models. Well, he takes each of these counter-arguments and he refutes them with surveys and research and quotations. So that's what you want to do. So do you see how the counter-argument is critical to building your argument? Now, this is how he refutes them. Fast food jobs are highly routinized, which means you're doing the same thing over and over and over again. You're really not learning anything. He also refutes it by saying there's a higher dropout rate, and people that work at McDonald's have a low skill level. Minorities are overtly represented, and so is this like keeping minorities down, maybe implying that this is all they're good for? He says there's lack of supervision. Usually it's other teenagers supervising teenagers. And teen values dominate. That I really was objected to this because his assumption is that teenagers are dishonest and they're going to steal, and so that becomes the culture of the workplace. I didn't quite agree with that. Money is instant gratification. And I thought, well, yeah, it is. We need food. We need gas in our cars. Yeah. So as you can tell, I didn't agree with many of his points. But what I did appreciate was how carefully he supported his claim with his research, and he carefully refuted the counter-arguments. So this is a really good essay to study so that we too can build a good argument. Okay, he made one concession. I thought he could have done better, but he just made one concession, and that was teen employment can be educational. He kind of gave that concession a little reluctantly, but he did do it. Got to give him credit. Okay, so in your handout, you will see that there are 17 steps to writing an argument essay, and you may be thinking, oh my gosh, that's a lot of steps. But basically, I just broke everything down into very tiny steps so that it's much easier to accomplish and move forward with this assignment. So step 1, we're going to choose a topic. And how do we do that? We're going to cluster, we're going to free write, we're going to talk to family, friends, whoever will engage in a conversation with us. You're going to do some research. And then you're going to email me your 2 or 3 possible topics. And it's kind of fun to read your topics. Some of you have already sent me your topics, and I'm real excited to see your research and your argument that you develop. Okay, I've listed some possible topics for the argument essay. Now, these aren't the only topics that you can create for your argument essay, but these are just some things I thought I'd throw out, maybe plant some seeds, and they might develop into a nice essay. So, American education system, is it a failure or success? Obesity among Americans. The expense of college education. Why have we eliminated PE, music, and art in K through 12? Should people who abuse their bodies with drugs, food, tobacco, and alcohol qualify for universal health care? Okay, some more topics. Is animal research ethical or necessary? Should there be individual accountability for polluting the environment? Is globalization good or bad for individual countries? Communism is not that bad or good. Gun control and the Second Amendment. Hate speech and the First Amendment. Is technology making us dumber? Are there some elements of our culture that promote mass shootings? Is abortion a choice or a murder? Affirmative action, is it helping or hindering minorities? Immigration, legal or illegal? The hazards and benefits of legalized marijuana. So pick 2 or 3, come up with your own, but let me know what you're going to write about. Okay, so the topics that we choose to write about, we need to research all facets. A topic is not like a pancake with just 2 sides, but an argument really is based more like a diamond. There are many, many facets. And so we discover those facets by doing research. First we look things up in the general encyclopedia so we get an overview. Then we turn to the specialized encyclopedias so we get a little bit more focused perspective. Then we go to opposing viewpoints so that we can see what some of those counter-arguments might be. We look at journal articles, we look at science-based articles and research-based articles. That is going to give us this little bank of knowledge that we can draw upon when we're creating our argument. Now, be sure you track your research. You're on this little research journey, and it's really important to keep track of what you've looked up, what you've read, what you've discovered. So build a working bibliography. It doesn't have to look like this. It can really just look like anything. Some of it can be typed, some of it can be handwritten, but make sure you are keeping a current record of your research. And then this will evolve into your Works Cited, Works Consulted page. And this will make it less complicated, less stressful, if you keep a record of your working bibliography. Now let's remember, opinions are not facts. Don't use editorials or opinions, including your own, as your research. Use the MCC database. Use the librarian's expertise. They're waiting for you to help you. And you know what? A lot of people now have more time, so you might be able to interview somebody, and you know how to do that because of our last project. And you can interview someone by phone or text or email. And let me give you an example of this. Say you're going to write about the legalization of marijuana, and your dad's a cop, and so he's really against it, so you've kind of been brought up with that notion that we shouldn't legalize marijuana because it creates a lot of unintended consequences. But you know your neighbor, he is dying of cancer, and he's using marijuana to help him get through the pain and the insomnia. So you go over there and you interview him, and you get the other perspective. And that might help you with your reputation, it might help you make a concession. You just don't know. So do the interview. It will always enrich your essay. Okay, now I'm going to ask you, what step are you on? Ask yourself, what step am I on? If you complete all the tasks in this video, you have finished step 9 of 17. And that's how we complete a project and do it with confidence and without panic or stress. We just do something every day. It also gives our brain the luxury of sleeping on it, being creative, and coming up with solutions. When we're cramming a task into a very short amount of time, we're limiting our ability to be creative and to allow that creative part of our mind to give us the ideas, the insights that we need to write a really good paper. And again, another reminder to submit your topic for my approval. Okay, I know I'm giving you a lot on this video, so I wanted to do a quick summary. So number 1, read Working at McDonald's is Bad. Complete the analysis with a study buddy. Then read Children Need to Play, Not Compete. Again, complete the analysis with a study buddy. And then I want you to use the sample argument outline and identify the argument elements from children need to play, not compete. And the sixth thing is I want you to submit 2 to 3 topic possibilities to me. Okay, now this essay that you're writing will be 8 to 10 paragraphs with a works cited, probably a works consultant page. I would strongly suggest that you follow Jessica Stansky's organization model in her essay, Children Need to Play, Not Compete. It's very simple. And as you can see on my little quote here, complexity creates fog, simplicity clears it. So always go for the simple approach. It doesn't mean that it's not intellectually stimulating or that you haven't built a beautiful essay. All it means is that you're walking a simpler road. And I would highly recommend that you follow either the organizational strategy in working at McDonald's or Children Need to Play, Not Compete. So you've got 2 really good models to follow. Now, just a little suggestion. I would encourage you to pace yourself. This is a little marathon, writing marathon that we're undertaking, and we have 5 weeks to complete English 102. And I'm confident that we can do it if we pace ourselves and we do a little bit every day. We have until May 6th, and it's about 5 weeks to finish English 102. If any of you have watched a structure being built, you know that they spend a lot of time grading the land and making sure that it's perfectly level, that it meets all the code requirements, and then they create the footings, and they make sure that those are perfectly aligned and that they meet code, and then they pour the concrete, and they make sure that it's at the right consistency and that it cures before they put the structure on it. That's what we're doing. We are building a foundation for this argument essay. And so the assignments that I've given you are like grading the land, building the footings, pouring the concrete. And if you do this right, you will be able to write a really strong argument essay. Now, understanding the pattern of the argument essay and doing thorough research, those are difficult tasks. But take your time. They're not difficult if you do a little bit every day. They're only difficult if we procrastinate. So what I would encourage you to do your best and persist even when you get a little frustrated. I know that you have other classes that you're trying to finish online. And you can do this. You can do it. It's just being persistent and having a plan each day for how you will accomplish your tasks. So that is all I have for you today. And I'm wishing you good work and good writing and stay healthy. Bye-bye.